You don't have to be a genius to know something's up with the world. You don't have to be a genius to know that if you go left or you go right, both seem to be doing a circle and bringing us back to the same place. And I think we do well to actually step back, because what does they say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. We've been doing the same thing, expecting a different result. We've been doing the same thing, hoping that somebody would present an answer for us, because we don't realize or have the confidence in ourselves to think that we could be an answer. And I think we're looking at the leaders or the kings of this world that have really stepped out of God, godless men that are really ruling from their own lusts. They take delight in the people and their perversion. They take delight in people that are doing wickedness, because it justifies their wickedness. And I think if I had to say anything to these kings of the world, if God had to say anything to these kings of the world, it's that their day is coming. Their day is coming, and they know full well. They may think they have power. They may think that they are invincible, but God is about to show them who's king. And I believe God's about to show them that no matter what they are, what they think they are, He is the supreme God. In their dreams, in their sleep, in their actions, these men and women are going to be held accountable for what they've done to God's people. And my people are killed for the lack of knowledge. And I think as we read the prophet Hosea in the Bible, and probably about chapter 7 on, it's very true of society today. They've just gone after their own lusts. It talks about our daughters going into harlotries and prostitutions, and how that's the result of our own behaviours. And I think, it talks about our wives and our daughters going off because men have forsaken being men. Men have gone after things themselves that they shouldn't have gone after, and they've given their spiritual authority over to a harlot. They've given their holy, righteous manhood over to, perverse sexuality. And I think that men have given over their strength, their energy, to women who have raided that, who have fed on their power and their authority, because they want the strength of, they want the strength of the masculinity. And so I challenge the men today to start to become spiritual men. To be a man is not just having men's plumbing. To be a man is not just having a tattoo and professing something good and nice at that time. To be a man is to somebody, I believe, somebody that aligns with God spiritually and walks in the strength and the Spirit of God. It starts to lead by the Spirit of God. And as you lead and I lead by the Spirit of God as men, change comes, change happens. And I believe that women often align spiritually with that and complete what we are doing. So I think if I had to speak to the situation that we're in today, as people are looking for answers, they're looking for a man or somebody that can be an answer. And I would encourage you to stand up. I would encourage you to understand that this God of this world has blinded our eyes. The God of this world that has us chasing lust. The God of this world that has hardened our hearts to where violence is acceptable, to where narcissism is acceptable, to where it's all about me and who cares about you. And I think Hosea in the Bible speaks pretty clearly of God's take on that, and says that what's going to happen to you is happening. It says your fish will disappear, your animals will disappear. And what are we seeing today? We're seeing a world that's falling apart because man is full of himself. Man is full of his own desires. He's created gods to suit his own purposes. You and I have created a God to suit our own purposes. We cherry pick. We go, well, I'll take that little bit, and I'll take this little bit, and I'll push that bit aside. And the men and women that are supposed to be prophets of God, the men and women that are supposed to speak to this generation and to bring truth and justice and righteousness, there is no justice, because these men and these women are godless. These men and these women are prophesying out of their own lusts and their own desires. They feed on the sheep instead of feeding the sheep. They feed on the wealth and the power and the importance that they can get from people instead of giving to the people. And I think God sees. God sees. Is God doing this to us? We're doing it to ourselves by our own behaviors because we're so numbed out to God. We're so shut off to God. We're so shut off to what we think God is. We've filtered him through our society. We've filtered him through our own perverse lusts and desires. We've filtered him through our desires for money. We've filtered him through our desires for sex. We've filtered him through our desires for power. And we've forgotten that he is a God that is in control. So you can look and say, well, what do I do? I'm just one man, and I can tell you what you can do because the Bible says it. And if you read Hosea in the Bible, the prophet Hosea, and really it's to turn and to soften our hearts again and to allow God to come in. You might say, well, I don't know. I don't know what actions are right and what actions are wrong. And friend, it's not just about actions. It's about your state of being. When your state of being is right, you will do the right actions. If you try to do the right actions from a bad state of being, you're shipwrecked right from the start. The Bible says it this way: your good works are as filthy rags in God's sight. God doesn't care about what you do to try to be pleasing. He doesn't care about how you try to impress. He cares about your heart. He cares about where your heart is and where it's going. And when this world is like going to hell, you don't have to go to hell. You don't have to fall apart. You can stand strong in the middle of a storm. You can stand strong and be grounded in what God has and is for your life if you'll just allow him into your heart. If you allow him and you soften your heart and to come before God and just as I'm talking and just saying, God, from your heart, saying, God, I've tried it. I've tried life my way and look at the mess I've made. We've tried life. Look at the mess we've made. Look at the rulers that are supposed to have led us and showed us the right way and taken care of society. But instead they've betrayed us for their own lusts and their own perversions. They've fed on the sheep. Look at the men of God, the prophets of God. They've fed on the sheep. They've fed on the power and the strength, the energy that they can suck out of people so that they can keep going. Instead of like introducing them to God, introducing them to an open heart of God. Friend, open your heart to God today. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what you're facing, losing. You can gain it all. The Bible says it this way: what's it profit a man if he gains the whole world and he forfeits his very soul? You know it as well as I know it. If you're forfeiting your soul, you feel dead on the inside. You might try to make it work. You're trying to just bump along and do things that make you feel good and pick you up. But you know inside you're dead. You know inside there's no life. Woman, you know as you've given away your essence, you've given away your femininity, you've given away your power to men, you've given it away. You've blamed men, but you're the one that's done it. You've given away your very essence, thinking you're going to get something back. You sold yourself of thinking you're going to get something good. And you're dead on the inside. And Hosea talks about it. You are so locked into your perversion. You're so locked into your way of thinking in life. You refuse to change. You refuse to go back. You refuse to soften your heart again to God. And I would say to you, God would allow you to soften your heart if you'll just take the time. Say, God, soften me. Help me to feel your heartbeat. Help me to be in the romance of God in life, that I can walk in that. Man, I challenge you to be a man spiritually, to stand up and to say, God, I know what you've got for my life. To start to say, God, I'm not just going to spend my life trying to please a woman. I'm not going to spend my life trying to chase the things of this world that are so temporary. They're being stolen from me anyway. Dear God, I want to be a man for you. And as you stand up and you start to say, I will be a man for God, and you walk in what's right for your life, you will see change. To the rulers of this world, to the judges, the kings of this world, but you think you've got it all together, you're going to know very soon that you don't. And I suggest that you humble yourselves and you come before a God and you say, God, I thought I was God, and look at me. Look at Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible when he thought he was God and he looked over his kingdoms and he said, no, I'm such a good man. The Bible says sovereignty was removed from him. His sanity was removed from him for 3 years until he realized that God is the king of the realm. I invite us all today to allow God into our life, to humble ourselves and to start to say, dear God, come into my life. I have no clue where to start. I have no clue what to do, but I can start by setting me in order, my house, my life in order. And when I start my life and put it in order with you, God, from out of that will flow all the answers to life. I'm Scott Russell, and I'm inviting you, take a journey with me in our God. Then we'll have some answers.